I guess I'll do that. All right. Share and share this. Okay. Oops, sharing. How do I get rid of this? Oops. Can you see the screen? I mean, what I'm sharing?
Yes.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yes.
good. Okay, so Peter Gemelch started these slides for us. And this, I thought, might be a good way to present our report to the town board. I know Jim has already done a report for the village board, but we might want to do it this way as well, Jim.
Yeah,
Just
that might well be.
because
Uh,
people like slides, you know? They
Yeah,
like
yeah,
bullet
it's
points.
true. It's true. And I'm not very handy with this, so I didn't include a lot of that. It's a lot of effort for me to make up that kind of thing, so I didn't do it.
Well, if
So I'm
you give me
glad to see
data,
that
I can put it in.
Okay.
So I'll just show you what I'd like to present to the town board. And as I said, I was just talking to Dave McMillan about when we can present to the town board. And he's not sure if the meeting on the 12th, next Monday, would be good, or the following meeting. But one of those two meetings we'll present. So what we're trying to do here is also explain the difference between the two programs of Climate Smart and Clean Energy. And so I go into talking a little bit about what each program includes. So the Climate Smart program is the much larger, more detailed program that's run by DEC. And then once you're certified, you have to get up to 120 points, and then you get certified. And all that does is strengthen your application for grant applications to the DEC. You don't get any money right away. So the actions that Jim has been really good in doing for the village is the greenhouse gas inventories. And you've also done a government climate action plan, Jim?
I'm working on that.
Okay. So I tried to put just general categories here, greenhouse gas inventories, because we can, under this Climate Smart program, if we do inventories of buildings as well as fleets. So I just put, greenhouse gas inventories. We could do municipal, we could do community. There's so many things that they have on their list of action items that if we so choose to do them all, we would get way more than 120 points. So we just have to figure out which action items are reasonable for us to undertake to get to 120 points. Okay, then the NYSERDA program is the Clean Energy Community Program. And that, I think, we're going to be able to achieve in the town before the Climate Smart certification. Because there's only 10 action items, and you only have to do 4. And then once you achieve 4 action items, you immediately get $5,000. Boom, they send it out. Then if you do more action items that achieve different point levels, then you get additional monies. And then we work with our NYSERDA coordinator is Eleanor Peck, and Jim and I meet with her regularly to just kind of go over where we are and how many points she thinks are it makes sense for us that we should be able to get. So here are the Climate Smart, the DEC program action items that we've actually already done. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. No, this isn't the action items yet. This is just the steps we've taken. So both municipalities, Tuxedo and Tuxedo Park, adopted the Smart Pledge. We each municipality formed a task force and appointed a coordinator. That's Jim and myself. And so basically what I'm trying to emphasize here is that our role is to work with the governing board, but that the governing board has to approve the actions.
Yeah.
So based on our recommendations, I mean, there are certain things like what John has done. What Jim and Hayes and John Ledwith have done is to work together and but you could say that the village board approved John's time to work with Jim, right? Does that make sense?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
I mean, Jim couldn't
I
go
do.
in and couldn't walk into village office and say, John, do this for me, you know?
Well, I can't really do that, but I can ask him to do a little bit as he can do some things so much faster than I can because he has his hands on the data. And I spoke with both the former mayor and the current mayor about that, and they said that's okay. But I have not I don't really ask him to do a lot of work. I've asked him to do a few little things.
Right, but
He's
so
very busy. He's extremely busy, and
he is.
and he he may want to get involved to some degree, but I think to some degree he should be careful about how much time he spends on this because he's got all these other duties.
Right, like tonight he couldn't come because there's a BAR meeting.
Yeah, right.
Okay, but what I have to emphasize to the town board is that they have to approve actions and they have to allow the staff to help me with the inventories. For instance, last year we had an intern and she helped me do electricity usage for 1 year, but I need another year in order to qualify the action for points. So, yeah, I have to go to the board and I have to say to them, this is what I need. I need staff time to help me get access to the data because, I can't just walk in there and open up the files. And so that's sort of what they need to know. So then I just say here that we meet the first the first Monday, and that we put the link on the town's website. And one thing that the town board wants us to do, and I think we have to do, is post the agenda and the minutes somewhere. So we could post it on the town's website. And so that's another thing we have to do. And then I just talk about the things we do. Then I talk about committee members and maybe I'm thinking, Bill, maybe since you're an engineer, I know Jim, your PhD, Fred, maybe, just give me a little background that might give a little heft to this, if you'd like.
Oh, sure. You want me to say some things now, or shall I just email you?
Yeah, you could just email me. That'd be great.
Okay, will do.
Okay. All right. Then this I found in an old Climate Smart presentation to show how the two programs are related. And I think this is good. Does this take a look at it, see if you think it kind of explains it? The clean energy designation, you could see, is a smaller, more achievable certification, right? It's sort of the second rung. And then you have to keep going with more advanced actions before you get to the Climate Smart certification. But clean energy certification, it gives you a lot of points towards the other, the more advanced certification. Do you think this is a good slide?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Although maybe it's, yeah, I think with your verbal explanation, I think that's okay.
Okay. Alright. So here we are. This is what we have done already. And then when you think about it, it's not bad. So just adopting the pledge and forming the task force was 20 points. This is the program that you need 120 points. Then we have the coordinator, we have the we joined efforts, the LED streetlight conversion we've already done, the energy code enforcement training we've already done. Same unified solar permit, passed that. And the energy audit, we actually get 10 points for having done that for the town. Peter Gemelch did the compost bin sales. And then the community choice aggregation, once that gets adopted, that's going to be a whopping 27 points. And then we did do a lot with the recycling program, but we haven't finished everything we have to do to get the 5 points. So to date, we have 67. And with the CCA and the recycling, we'll be up to 99 points. So for the town, 21 points isn't that hard to do. If I could only get the data and do what Jim has done with the greenhouse gas inventory and the fleet inventory, we'd be in really good shape. So Jim, what I'm thinking is that let's go through what the village has done and have a slide like this for the village.
Okay, yeah, sure. I thought Peter had all that data. He does.
Okay, yeah, I'm sure he does. I'll get it from him.
It's in that folder. I think, we've done a greenhouse gas inventory for the village government. We've done a greenhouse gas inventory for the residential, which includes and commercial, which includes the club and the school. And we have done the inventory of the fleet inventory. And let's see, we're in the process of doing the climate action plan for village government, but that's not finished. But the annual report, we did an annual report, which is in. And so that's another thing. And Peter has that. And that is basically the sort of the beginning of a climate action plan for the village government, because I did another inventory for the village government and we did a whole lot of other things. We picked out buildings to be converted from fossil fuel use to heat pumps, and where solar panels might be put, and a whole lot of things. So that there are a lot of action items in that annual report, which in a way the village board now needs to look at it and begin to think about what they want to do. And I think that's the ball is really in their court on that, because once they decide what they want to do and how they can prioritize it, how they prioritize it, in other words, when they think they might do it, then it's easy to put together the climate action plan, because that's what the climate action plan is. So it needs their climate action plan. And for that, we get another 16 points. So we have the usual points for the pledge and for working with another community, which happens to be you. I mean, happens to be the town.
Mm-hmm.
And we have the solar permit is now bouncing around somewhere. The Mayor McFadden sent it to the bar, and they've sent it back to the board, and it's really up to the board, up to the mayor now to decide on doing that, which shouldn't take them a lot. I mean, I think that's a no-brainer. Don't you think so, Michelle? I mean, it just seems like.
No, I know the mayor, I know Josh. I mean, there's 3 of us. So it should,
right.
I'm sure we could work with the other 2.
Yeah. So that's just a matter of the board doing it. So, so those are quite a few things that we've done. So I think we've got, I don't know, we may not have 67 points, but we've got 50, I think, or more.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some certain things that the town has been able to do, like the LED streetlight conversion that you couldn't do. And the solar permit's already done and the audit's already done. So I'm a little, and the compost sales. So
When-
I'm a little ahead on that, but you're ahead of us on the inventories and the climate action plan.
Well, my goal is to reduce the greenhouse gases. I mean, it's all very well to get caught up in all these points, but I think the time should be spent on things that actually reduce the greenhouse gases. And as far as streetlights are concerned, that's like a tiny fraction of our greenhouse gases come. We've only got 56 streetlights, so it really is, it's nothing compared with you know, what the fleets produce or what the buildings produce and all that.
Right.
So streetlights, you can get some points, but for me, for the village, I think it's hardly worth spending a lot of time on it. It can happen sort of automatically, like every year you do so many, which I guess is what you did in the town.
Yes.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
it
Fine
took
to
me
do it.
4 years.
Yeah. So it's fine to do it, but it isn't going to make much difference in terms of greenhouse gases.
Right.
Which after all, from my point of view, is the main purpose. And they do, you know, the points often do reflect the fact that these things that get large numbers of points are things that reduce the greenhouse gases more than ones that get smaller amounts of points. So,
Right. Well, when we get the community choice aggregation going, then that is going to really give us a lot of points, because
yeah,
that will be impactful.
right.
Yeah.
That may be uphill, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I used to
Hold on.
count
Jen,
up- I used to count
Sorry.
up, but now I'm thinking we've got to really go with heat pumps and buildings and that kind of thing, which is a fair number.
I'm in a meeting.
And in the long run, the village will save money by doing that too. So,
Oh, okay. Okay. Let me go. I'm sorry, Jim. I just had to answer a phone call. Sorry.
no, no, that's all right. I wasn't saying anything very important.
Okay, so now, this just kind of says a little bit more, what we need, what our challenges are. But a little bit more what you're talking about, Jim, I think, is the clean energy certification. That seems to go more directly to reducing greenhouse gas emissions. And I identified for the town these action items, so that I think are doable this year. As you know, and as Bill has helped me look at the energy upgrades for town hall. If we go with geothermal, that's a huge chunk of points for clean energy certification, but it also will really go towards what our real goal is. And now that you say it like that, Jim, it makes me realize that that's also what we need to add to our kind of introduction as to, you know, why we're doing this and what our goals are.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think another thing that you might put in this, because I think it's sort of impressive, is the number of municipalities that are participating in these programs. And they're really a lot. I mean, there are hundreds and hundreds across the state are doing both you know, climate smart. I think those that are doing it, they're like 900 communities. And that, and a similar number for the clean energy community. So I think that we're part. I mean, you know, you might say, what difference does Tuxedo Park make? It's a tiny little place, but we're part of this bigger movement. And the more communities that do it, the more they will influence other communities to do it. I did get
Mhm.
at one of the events down at the powerhouse. Somebody from Sloatsburg came up, and I talked to them for a little while, and they said, "Oh, you should come down and talk to us in Sloatsburg because we're not doing this, but we could get doing it too." But they never got back to me, so I didn't do it. But I see the former mayor quite frequently, and we're on very good terms. I don't know the current mayor of Sloatsburg, but the former mayor I know, and I could speak to him about who I might contact down there who would, either you or I or somebody could speak to them and encourage them to move ahead. Or come to some of our meetings, just to get an idea of what we're doing.
Yeah.
So I think that's something to add, which is important at the beginning, that we are
Mhm.
part of a network across the state, and the state is using this network to meet its goal of reducing greenhouse gas emissions by 40%. To 40%, I guess. I forget now what it is, by the end of this decade, which is pretty soon. And so they've got a lot they have to do. So the state itself is doing things, but it needs all these communities working too. And that's why they're trying to help us. I think they could help us more than they're doing, but they're at least trying.
Hey, Jim, I have a question. Is there anybody at the state level who is monitoring the aggregate savings of all these communities
I
over
don't know.
time?
I don't know. I don't know. So many of these communities are doing it currently, greenhouse gas emissions inventories, and it's that data that I guess the state would use. Now, what has happened in the lower Hudson Valley is that a group there, a NYSERDA funded group there, has done a greenhouse gas inventory for every community. So they have that data, and it may well be that other regions such as that are doing the same thing. So the state may use that data.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see the success rate in some
Yes, no, it would be.
statistics or metrics over
Yeah,
time.
of course,
You know.
of course, yeah.
Hmm.
No, I mean Westchester and communities along the Hudson are very active, and they've done quite a lot. Westchester in particular.
Hmm.
Yeah, there are other towns that like Phillipstown, Bedford, oh my Lord. They are unbelievable. Of course, they're in Westchester, right? But they're on their own so far ahead of so many communities.
Yeah.
And in this, as an aside, in this latest round of money being handed out, they are somehow trying to limit how much Westchester can get because
Right.
rounds of money come out and Westchester's, lined up already with all the action items they've taken and they get most of it and there's, peanuts left for the rest of us. So they're trying to put a cap on Westchester now. So other communities have access to the funding.
Westchester too successful, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
I
Which
think
is good, but
Mhm.
I think some of those communities actually hire people to do the kinds of things that we're doing. I know that Beacon, for instance, hired somebody to do their greenhouse gas inventory, and
Mhm.
so when professionals do it, it's not a learning curve, and so they can do it fairly quickly, and so they can move ahead quickly when they do that.
Sounds like that's a good job for somebody, a little background. Get a spreadsheet program and just start plugging away for all these different municipalities.
Oh, yeah. Once you've done it once or twice, it's not so, you
Yeah, just have a template.
know where the data is and how to get it.
So just what I want to explain about clean energy points versus climate smart points. Climate smart is 120 points, but the points are a lot less. Then you look at these points for clean energy And who knows why they decided on the different point system, but obviously the LED streetlight conversion is 900 points towards clean energy certification. And I forget what, I think it was 12 for climate smart. So you just have to switch your brain and how things are computed for each of these programs.
These
So-
I haven't studied these because I've been spending more time on the climate smart, thinking about those, but these are up to 4,600 points. So you can get some fraction of those points by doing, you have to look at what lies behind that, what you need to do to get how many points.
Right.
Not
Yeah,
just-
I don't know if I should, that's a good question that I wanted to throw out tonight. I mean, this is the way they present it on their website. Then when you go to the actual, what they call toolkit, and it'll, get into the weeds as to what you have to do to get all the, the maximum points. And so maybe what I will do with Eleanor Peck, our NYSERDA coordinator, is go through this and say, okay, what's realistic for us in Tuxedo? So I can give the town board a realistic accounting here. It has to do with the size of the buildings and the percentage of buildings and how much you save, that kind of thing.
Yep.
So I'm going to try to get with her before we make this report to the town board in this presentation, try to get more realistic points.
But Michelle,
Yes.
when it says up to 4,100 points, in other words, to get credit for that action, do you need to do the whole thing, 4,100 points, or can you get credit for less than 4,100 points?
You can get credit for less. Yep.
Okay. But we do have to know how much less if you're worried about the action. I mean, getting
Right.
credit.
Right.
So
Exactly.
Okay. Is there a total number of points needed or you just need to do a certain percentage of 4 of these actions? I guess that's it.
Okay, so good question. You just have to do 4 action items. We have 2. We have the LED streetlight conversion, energy code enforcement training. Okay. The other things that we've done that I showed you how many points that, the 67 points we have towards climate smart.
Mhm.
A lot of those, most of those actions don't count towards clean energy. These are the only 2 that actually count towards clean energy. And that's because the NYSERDA programs that's all they care about is clean energy. They don't care about inventories and things like that. This, in a way, Jim, goes more to what you're saying as far as actually instituting clean energy projects.
Mhm. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't studied this enough to understand it yet, but we may meet together when you meet with Eleanor Peck about it. I'd like to be there because we'll see how, and we need to sort of think a little bit about how we partition the workload of all this too, since you're now working on it and putting in a considerable amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
Who does what and so forth. And just another aside, and that is I'm a little bit concerned with John kind of charging ahead with all this, not the community solar, but more the solar panels and all of that. I was kind of hoping that the board would get involved and make decisions on what they wanted to do, and then let the rest of us know what that would be. Because John, it may not be, I mean, the board may not want to do any of that. And so that ends up being a kind of a waste of his time.
Well, I think maybe Fred, since you're in the village, maybe you want to meet with us about the viability or of some of the solar projects in the village.
I would be interested, yes.
Do you have a
Well,
copy of our annual report, Fred? Were you on the distribution list when I sent that out? I can't remember whether you were or not. I'll send it to you.
That would be, I'd appreciate that.
Yeah.
So what Jim is referring to is John, kind of on his own, decided to just explore what would be involved with the solar roof on the sewer building.
Yes,
And so, maybe what we can do is figure out how we want to present that to the village board.
Yeah, well, there were a number of solar panel possibilities. That was the one, and the other one that actually John had suggested was on top of the water tanks, which is a fair amount of space on the top of those, and it's a lot of sun, and they're pretty invisible. I was thinking that we perhaps should continue to explore the village hall, but it's not as not quite as sunlight there as there are in the other two locations.
Well, I mean, the thing is, the village hall might not be there for 25 years. The life of the solar panels. Eventually, they might want to rebuild it or.
True.
So I think something like the sewer plant and the water tanks would probably be an easier thing to do. And then, so, we have the community choice aggregation program. We're just waiting for Jewel to come back with pricing. We've done so much of the work already. And Fred, I don't think you were around. I think you moved in after we kind of completed the outreach, but I could bring you up to speed on what that program's all about. Have you heard of it before?
no, the outreach to,
It's called Community Choice Aggregation.
oh,
And-
community choice aggregation. I've heard about that, and read a little bit about it. But that's really because I heard you talking about it. Before that, I didn't know.
Mhm.
So what I gather about that is that it's a process in which, well, actually I've read some of Jules' postings about it too. That a process in which you have the electric needs of the community aggregated into one pool, and that pool would negotiate for lower rates, and it would be managed by Jewel.
Mhm.
The community would be in unless they opted out, which is a good quiet form of getting people's attention. And what I didn't understand is the Jewel aggregation, something that would be in terms of renewable energy as the source only, or just a means of lowering electric bills?
So what for the clean energy program and to earn any points, they did just change it before January. If you were in a community choice aggregation, in order to get any points, it had to be 100% renewable.
Okay.
Now they've realized that that's too hard to be able to actually make happen, because it's not cost effective, right? Or the prices don't compare favorably. So you can get points for 50% renewable.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what Jewel said is that their programs really are renewable, but under New York state rules, New York State is trying to promote renewable projects in New York. And so for municipalities to get grant funds, it has to be 100% New York renewable.
Yes.
Now, that's the way it was. Now they're saying it's okay if it's 50% New York renewable. Jewel told me, and I've read it before elsewhere, that they're offering 50% New York renewable. The other 50% is renewable, but it comes from other states.
Oh, okay.
So it's okay. You just don't get as much points towards this clean energy certification if it's only 50% New York renewable. And so you get less points than if it's 100% New York renewable.
But with Jewel, you'd still stand to make the full cut in greenhouse gases.
Right,
That,
right. So you're achieving your goal, but you're just
Yes.
not achieving the points.
you're not getting rewarded by it for it as much as you would otherwise.
Right.
Yeah. Yes.
So now, no,
what-
I'm sorry.
how long into the future is this process likely to last? It's happening now, but is it a slow happening, or would it suddenly speed up at some point?
Well, it's just kind of a bad time in the market to
Uh,
fix. They're always a minimum. Maybe they'll make it a 12-month minimum fixed rate program. But right now, the lowest has been 18 months. And so in order to, and the programs have to be they have to be fixed rate, because that's the only way that these companies can then go ahead and hedge in the market, the risk.
yes.
They have to, they fix the rate for 18 months, then they hedge their risk in the the options and the futures markets in the electricity market. That's how these things work. So because they're fixed rates for a period of time, it's been hard to get a good program compared with where ONR is right now, up and down. Right now, I think they're 11.5 cents at ONR this month. So anyway, as far as once we get into it, it'll probably be an 18-month fixed rate program, and then you have to renew it at the end of the 18 months.
Mhm.
But we're pooling not just Tuxedo residents, we're pooling with other communities. So that's how we're getting our purchasing power.
Yes.
And they still have other communities that want to do it?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
That's the good news.
Now that is good.
Now that
news.
I'm back from vacation, I gotta hammer them about giving us some pricing. They said we were gonna have a report by the end of January. So I just got back. Renewable energy is another action item here, and all we have to do is subscribe a few of our municipal accounts to a community solar project. So that should be a pretty easy thing to do. Next is a community campaign, and I'd love to get more help with this one. I know that this is a big deal, and there's money that the state will give us to promote community solar and clean energy, electric vehicles. So I'll send more information about that. Benchmarking, pretty much, Jim, that's sort of what you've done, is set up a spreadsheet. And I think that that's something that I have to talk to the town board about, letting the staff help me set up that system. And it's just, getting all like monthly data to see how much money, how much energy is used in the buildings and the vehicles. Well, actually benchmarking, I'm sorry, is just about buildings.
Yeah, well, I don't think that spreadsheet, I mean, I want that spreadsheet set up, but I don't think it has been set up yet. But it should be. I've asked John to do that, but I don't think it's happened.
I think
'Cause-
they sent, there's a template that they have, so you don't have to figure it out. I think
Okay.
there is a spreadsheet, yeah.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad that's happened because I wasn't aware of it.
So these are the things
It
that
would
I'd
be a-
like to,
That
I'm
would
sorry.
be just every month when a bill is paid, which includes fossil fuel energy, the amount used and the cost and is recorded.
Yes, yeah.
Every building and every vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now that should not be a problem, and it would make everything so much easier to have that. And I'm glad that that's happened. I wasn't aware of it.
Yeah, there is that, yeah, this is in the new update. So, okay,
That's
so,
That's for the town or for the village?
well, this, what we're looking at now is what I want to present to the town.
Right,
But,
but
I'll
that spread,
send around the backup links and everything to all of this.
but
So
the spreadsheet for the village is done?
oh, no, I'm sorry. No, that's not what I meant. I just meant that Eleanor sent me a template for how we would do a benchmarking system. And a training video. Because we have to do that portfolio manager.
Okay. Okay.
That's a
And
whole program.
Eleanor's in the town.
No, I'm talking about Eleanor Peck.
Oh, Eleanor Peck. Okay, all right, got it.
Okay.
Well, maybe the village, the Elizabeth Doherty could make that spreadsheet up. John is so busy. All the needed information is in the annual report. Every meter is there, every vehicle is there, every building is there. So the spreadsheet should be relatively easy to make up.
Okay. So this, what I'm showing you now is something that Eleanor Peck sent me as what she thinks our points are. So I have to, you see my question marks at the bottom. I have to call her before I finish this report and figure out what's the difference between the points I'm getting on the website and what Eleanor is saying our points would be. So that's what I've done for the town.
Mhm.
I think, have a feeling by the time I really get this really in good shape to present to the town board, they want to see it first. And they don't want to see it for the first time at the town board meeting. So I have a feeling it's not going to be next Monday. I have a feeling it's going to be the following meeting on the 26th, which is fine with me. Let's see. I think one thing that's going to be important is for all of us on the committee to get people to come to the town board meeting and show support for this. Because, even village residents should come to the town board meeting. We pay 40% of the A fund. So,
I'll go. I'll be there.
yeah, no, we need to get everybody. And I don't know what I could send out an email to everybody I know in town but what do you think, Bill? What would be a good way to get everybody in the town of Tuxedo to show up?
I don't know, free coffee and pastries. That's a good question. I mean, in my neighborhood up here, it's not all that easy sometimes to get people to come out to go to town hall. It depends naturally on the issue, but emails, I think that's the best way to contact large groups of people. Send
Okay.
out emails and try to be somewhat convincing of the importance.
So I'm gonna take what Fred and Jim and Bill, what you've all said about, why we're doing this, and put it in an email and send it around for you guys to edit. How does that
Great.
sound?
Okay,
Sounds good.
Terrific.
Sounds good.
Yes.
And I know Peter will have some input, so that'll be good. All right,
What I-
that's what I'm gonna do, because I think that's the best way is we'll just get a convincing email, encourage people to come.
what I will do for you, Michelle, is hopefully tomorrow I'll send you all the action items, which are all clean, I think, climate smart actions that we've completed and the number of points that we've done.
Okay,
I'll send that.
okay.
And
Yeah, I'll do that. I have the slide all set up.
okay. Are you you're not gonna show the park one at the town hall or the
Yeah,
town at the park? No. That doesn't-
correct.
I don't think that anything they're gonna want to watch.
Right. I would just do the first couple of slides that talk about what the
Yeah,
CS,
the
what the
cooperation.
two different,
That's right. That's good.
those would be like 3 introductory slides and then that one kind of sort of Venn diagram type thing. And then after that, go into the actual action items and the points for the village.
Yep. Okay.
All right. Excellent. All right, I think that's what we got to do. We got to focus on this report. I have to get the correct points, and then convince people to come, even if it's just by Zoom.
Yeah, that's true.
Because, I mean, Zoom is easy. I'll just be doing this slide presentation. I'll send you when I get the slides done a little bit more. I've just been working on it yesterday and today. So when I get this a little bit more completed, I'll send it around to everybody and you can send me your comments.
Great.
Very well.
Eager to see them. See them.
When we-
Okay.
In my opinion, when we send out an email blast to friends and neighbors in the community, we should also emphasize the economic benefits of this,
Mm,
because people respond. People respond to economics and what they may perceive as savings better than just about anything else, from my experience.
That's a good point.
yes. I can
So-
get, one thing I'd love is, I know that after even just a couple of years of converting LED streetlights, we had already saved $35,000 in streetlights.
That's wonderful. That's something we should emphasize. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
Money
we-
talks. Money talks in
Yes.
society.
yep. So, and then of course, that geothermal energy audit compared, what the break even point would be, but then after that, over the course of the 20 years, we could calculate those savings too.
Yeah, that email I sent to you, Michelle, is focused on the HVAC system for the town hall.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And, that the long-term economics of that will be desirable. That should be studied. That's why I was suggesting a cost benefit investigation of when we, when it would, how much it would save the community over time.
Right, if we can quantify it. I think we can quantify it because we know how much we spend now.
Sure, we could. And play that against the installation cost as opposed to the long-term savings.
Right.
It could very well present itself as a good investment.
Yeah,
Over the long term, for sure.
much
Yeah,
of it will, much of it will.
yeah,
We're saving money on the police vehicles in the park now because at least we have hybrids. Not that we get much credit for hybrids, but still they're get much better mileage than regular patrol cars. And if we go to EVs, it'll be a lot. And that's all in the annual report.
yeah. Very well.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Excellent.
Okay.
All right, thanks so much, everybody, and we'll keep working on this, get it all in great shape for presentation.
Yeah,
Great,
FYI,
thank
I
you.
will send you all an email on the Museum Village.
Yes, definitely. That's cool. I had no idea that connection to the person that Fred had talked about.
Yeah, Roscoe Smith. That was
Wow.
one of the great loves of his life was 19th and early 20th century technology. Well, he was an engineer after all, so
Mhm.
that was his goal, to explain and express the advances of technology in that era to the public. So I'll send you something on it.
Okay, thank you so much.
I will look forward to that email too. Thank you.
Good, my pleasure.
I will too, Bill. Thanks.
Okay.
Later.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Have a
Good
good
night.
evening.